Hello and welcome to Super OK, where we try to do a decent enough job to entertain people with our opinions on video games. As always, my name is Dale and I am joined here by two absolutely holly jolly motherfuckers. First off, we got Gannon. Gannon, how are you doing?
I don't think I've ever been described as holly, like me personally. Like when I was Santa Claus at Somerset, yes, but never me as a person.
But what about jolly?
Yeah, definitely jolly. Definitely jolly. I think I just blew Mel's mind.
You did. Hi, I'm Mel. I'm here. I'm on the podcast. But like, you were Santa Claus at Somerset?
Yeah, I got to be in the castle. I did it for one season before I moved to I think I got my job at Apple. I was between tours at one point. Yeah, I worked with Janet and March, who are great people. They do the entertainment there, and I was one of the Santas there.
I cannot believe that. That is wild. I can't imagine like you like not having the beard that you have now, and then just replacing it with a white beard, and just being like super cool with all the kids.
Yeah, I was apparently too pasty white though, because I hadn't gotten in the sun. So like we had to like rosy up my cheeks and stuff. Yeah, I got stories. We can talk. I can give you the lowdown on it.
I can't.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
this is I love this revelation coming out on this episode, but more than that, I love the extreme amount of glee on Mel's face for finding this out. Oh man.
It's quite the knowledge bomb.
That's what I'm here for. Dropping knowledge bombs.
So good. Mel, would you describe yourself as either holly or jolly?
Probably jolly, but I don't know about holly.
All right. And what about motherfucker? Because that was the third word.
Oh, for sure. Definitely a motherfucker.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So normally on this this fine podcast that you're listening to, we like to start off with a highlight of the week, which is a little thing that made our week a little bit better, a little bit brighter, a little bit nicer to live in. However, we're doing a year in review this time. And so we're going to switch it up a little bit. We are going to throw out our highlight of the year. So who wants to share their highlights of the year?
I'll go first because it's definitely Gannon being Santa Claus. I still can't get over that. That is freaking amazing. And I really wish I had photos. But aside from, Gannon being Santa Claus, I actually got to have Invisalign this year. That really helped me straighten my teeth and kind of like make me feel better about myself. So I was really happy to go through that process, which hurt a freaking ton, but I'm just so happy with the results. That's being one of them. Being able to go to cool concerts and not have to worry about like people with COVID. Still icky about people being next to me and coughing and stuff, but like it's just an overall better experience this year than it was in previous years because of just how lax we are with it all, and maybe because our immune systems are getting better, and the virus is not as bad, maybe
strong.
Devastating, I should say. And then on top of that, I didn't put this in the outline, but the Lions being relatively okay this season, like that's awesome. Like I have to be excited about that. For being a Lions fan and being disappointed year after year, it is nice to finally see your home team win some games.
I really hope by the time this episode comes out that we're off this stupid losing streak, though.
Seriously, I know. It's been kind of bad. We've been looking terrible, but knock on wood.
I know. But whatever. If we can't beat the Broncos, we don't deserve anything.
True. But at least we looked decent, decent enough that maybe next year will be even better. So I have high hopes, And then on top of that, just hanging out with family, being able to spend quality time with like my parents, my in-laws, my extended family in Thailand, and also Josh's extended family this year. It was just really nice being able to get together with people. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Nice. I'll go next. Talking about hanging with family and whatnot, I had the opportunity to go on an Alaskan cruise this year with all of Ange's family, and it was just like a life-changing experience. It was so gorgeous, and it was so amazing, and I've already expounded upon how great of an experience it was in previous episodes, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but like I was like 30 feet from a whale, y'all. It was awesome. And then speaking of family, I had a new addition to the family. My sister had a brand new baby nibbling by the name of Levi Dale. Yeah, that's right. Middle name named after me.
Wow.
That's pretty great. And he's tiny and cute and adorable and joins all of the rest of my absolutely amazing nibblings. I'm just like super blessed when it comes to awesome nibblings. So that is definitely another highlight for me.
That's awesome. That's
Uncle
fantastic.
Bill.
Yeah. For me, it's been definitely about getting back into theater again. Like Mel said, now that COVID's a little bit more manageable and like the sickness and stuff is a lot more manageable, I felt comfortable getting back out there and trying something. What?
Because the sickness,
Oh my God.
But it's more manageable.
Oh my God.
My goodness. I can't. I just repeated you. Like I was like, oh, he's saying something, so I got to do it too.
You did a monkey see, monkey do scenario.
100%. Yep. Definitely can see my acting chops are back. They're back. Improv is
yes, and my bullshit joke.
I did. So that's been really cool of getting to meet some new people and starting some new friendships and stuff down here, making Texas feel a little bit more like home, one step every year. So by the time I'm like 50, I will probably feel like it's home. So that's cool. And then last but not least, the Super OK Hangout this year was really great to see everybody be able to go to the arcade. If you've been following, I got my Pikachu outfit there, which has gotten it's well worth the wear. So to all those who donated tickets to help me earn that, thank you so much.
That was wonderful.
I can't get over as hell in that thing.
I can't get over the fact that you did a catwalk of Pikachu and then like did the walk and then the pivot and turn and went Pika, and then you kept walking a little bit and then you were like chew.
It was that night that inspired me to get back into theater, actually. So
that's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, the Super OK Hangout was definitely a highlight. It was really cool to see everybody. And if you're like, what's Super OK Hangout? I don't know about that. It was in the Discord. So get in the Discord. So you could be there for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Those are all really good highlights of the year. It's been, we're near the end of the year. I don't know about you guys. My year has had some ups and also some downs. But we are going to talk about that in the lens of video games, the sort of thing that we sometimes talk about on this podcast when we're not talking about Ganon's. This is now a Ganon was Santa podcast, by the way. But when we're not talking about that, we're going to talk about video games. And so let's start with our favorite 3 games of the year. And we're actually going to let Brody go first. So Brody isn't here, but he recorded a message. And I'm going to ask our wonderful editor and also amazing human, Zando, to insert Brody's statements here.
Hey, everybody, this is Brody, and I wanted to share some of my favorite games of 2023. So starting with one that's going to be no surprise to anybody is going to be Diablo 4. It's also no secret that this game has a long way to go, but it's off to a really good start. I remember when Diablo 3 launched, it was a very different game than the game it became. And Diablo 4 shows a lot more promise than Diablo 3 did at launch. So I'm really excited to see what they make of it. I've spent time with a lot of the characters, and I absolutely think it's a great platform for the future. So Diablo 4, great game this year. My next pick is Risk of Rain Returns. Man, this game just keeps me coming back and back and back. And honestly, I love the build crafting. I love the moment to moment gameplay. I mean, that Risk of Rain team knows what they're doing, and Risk of Rain Returns is as exciting as anything they've put out. It might not have the depth of Risk of Rain 2, but it sure has the moment to moment gameplay. So much fun. I'm going to play a ton of this going forward as well. And then finally, Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful game. Obviously Breath of the Wild set a very high bar, and I think Tears really matched it, if not cleared it, with all of the kind of the weapon crafting and everything like that. I do think that the depths is maybe the best exploration mechanic that's ever been in a video game. I think it's just an awesome inclusion. So those are probably my 3 top favorite games of the year. I do have a couple games that I really want to spend more time with going forward. And those games are Dave the Diver. Really, really liked my time with that. I think the common theme here is I started them maybe at the wrong time. But Dave the Diver, Cocoon. I love the games that kind of came before this. This is from the crew that did Inside, Limbo. I really want to spend more time with that. And then I do want to wrap up Final Fantasy 16 because I was absolutely loving my time with that. I thought the story was great. The action-oriented gameplay was great. So I'm really looking forward to that, to playing more of that going forward. So thanks everybody for a great year, and we'll see you next year.
That was a really interesting take, Brody. I definitely don't have anything to say about it right now, but you may get my thoughts later.
Brody, your Diablo pick, man. That's a pick.
I feel okay. So I feel bad shitting all over Diablo because Brody's not here to defend it. I will say that his pick of Risk of Rain Returns was a great choice.
It was. I really enjoyed that on the Steam Deck, actually.
And while I didn't play Tears of the Kingdom because I just don't like the open world Zelda games, everybody else seems to like it, so I can't begrudge him that. But man, I can begrudge him Diablo 4 so bad, so fucking bad. All right, I'm gonna go next. And without question, the game that I have spent the most time on this year, that I have loved the most, that I am still not finished with.
What?
I know. I'm in Act 3. I'm plugging along. I just discovered some crazy. I don't want to spoil anything, but there may or may not be some smuggling and teddy bears that I'm looking into. So if you've played the game, you know where I am. So Baldur's Gate 3, absolute masterpiece, game of the year. Everybody talks about oh man, Spider-Man's so great because it makes you feel like Spider-Man, or Batman's so great because it makes you feel like Batman. Baldur's Gate 3 is so great because it makes you feel like you're playing D&D. And it's absolutely amazing at it. And the developers, I'm not going to say they thought of everything, but I haven't tried something that they didn't think of. And that's really, really cool. The next game was a game that was a surprise to me that I enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm still playing it, even though it came out a good long while ago. And that's Marvel Snap. So Marvel Snap came out last year, hit public release last year, but I have been playing it this entire year. And that's pretty wild for a mobile game. We did an episode on it a little while back if you want to hear more about why I loved it so much. But the game is just freaking good, which is very surprising considering it's basically just a Marvel take on the board game Smash Up. And I like Smash Up, but I don't love it. But Marvel, man, the way that they have been dealing with their community and the meta and constantly adjusting and making sure that the game feels fresh, with their over-the-air updates and their patches and all of that. The fact that the monetization at no point has felt exploitative, all of that leads to a game that I have really, really enjoyed this year. And then the last one is absolutely buck-ass wild. But it is a game that I got really heavily into early this year. And up until the point when I moved out of my house and didn't have a hardline connection to play it on, I was playing pretty much every day, and that's Fortnite. which I was not anticipating being on my game of the year list, but every update has been awesome. They're doing all sorts of wild shit. I haven't had a chance to play around with the Lego stuff, but I've seen it on Tubbs' stream. Like, it looks like a decent enough time. I'm not a big fan of like the crafting survival stuff, but like the fact that that's in Fortnite is crazy. The fact that there is racing in Fortnite now is wild. The fact that there is Guitar Hero in Fortnite is absolutely insane. And that's on top of the really, really, really solid, maybe best in class battle royale.
You can't deny that there's a lot of content in the game at this point.
Yeah. That's all you have to say about it. You're like,
yeah,
but otherwise,
I actually, I would have preferred that when they bought Harmonix that they actually just made a new game rather than putting it into Fortnite. And to be personally honest, it looks super low quality and not very good. Fortnite Festival does not look very good. I wish it was a true game on its own, I think, giving it the time that it deserves. But it is really cool that they are doing that. I just am afraid that if certain things do get absorbed into the Fortnite universe and that's their final iteration, or if they do poorly and then they die there, it's going to be really sad.
That's fair. That's a fair concern.
But the Lego shit looks sweet.
Lego shit's fun. For the most part, like if you play a lot of survival games, like it is good enough. I feel like they're missing key elements of like a good survival game, like finding a better way to teleport your stuff from one base to another would be really helpful, because right now you have to like carry it all. So if you set up like multiple camps, like you can't have all of your items crafting all your materials together in one location, which kind of makes it annoying. But I'm sure they'll fix it. I mean, it just came out, so I'm sure they're going to probably have, updates for it. So I don't know. It's crazy that Fortnite's on your favorite games of the year. I would have never expected
I
that
wouldn't have expected it either. It's wild.
Next year in 2024, Dale's going to be like, and my number one game of the year is Minecraft. And we're just going to the world is going to explode. And I have specific words I will make Dale eat.
Fucking Roblox or some shit like that. Like my game of the year 2024, Subway Surfers.
Wow.
Diablo 4.
Oh God. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens when Bobby Kotick's out the door. I haven't played it at all yet. So
yeah.
All right. So those are my game of the year choices. What do you guys got?
Do we want to toss it to Zando here and let Zando tell us a little bit? I know he was going to record a section. So Zando, why don't you take it away? Tell us your thoughts.
Well, thank you, Gannon, for that wonderful introduction. My top 3 games of 2023 are going to be Sea of Stars, first and foremost. This is a game that it wasn't really on my radar until I was in the Discord one night with Gannon. And he's like, I'm playing the demo for this Sea of Stars game. It's got music by Yasunori Mitsuda. You know that person, right? And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I know Yasunori Mitsuda. And so I was like kind of interested. He said it was it's like a JRPG in the style of like Chrono Trigger and like had timed hits like a Super Mario RPG. And I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And I kind of looked it up and saw that it was by the same people who did The Messenger. And at that time I hadn't played The Messenger. So I went back and played The Messenger. And then when I was done with that, I was like, holy crap, this game was incredible. I'm absolutely going to play Sea of Stars. So the day Sea of Stars came out, I was in. And I was instantly in love with it. Everything about the game was great. The characters, the story, the music, just everything is so cool, especially if you play The Messenger and enjoyed The Messenger. Like that, there's just so many little nods to it and stuff like that. It was just a really cool experience. If you have not played The Messenger, you need to do that. And then you need to play Sea of Stars. I genuinely think you will not enjoy the game as much if you haven't played The Messenger. And it's not like a huge thing. Like you can still play it if you didn't play The Messenger, but I think there's going to be some beats that you might not enjoy as much. But I've also never talked to anybody who's done the opposite. So maybe it is really cool to play Sea of Stars, which technically takes place before The Messenger, and then go play The Messenger and see all those little nods. So I guess just play both because they're fantastic games. Next up on my game of 2023 would be Street Fighter 6. This is a surprise to nobody. I've been waiting for this game to come out. They did my boy Zangief so good. He's so much fun to play. He's a monster. He is, beaten by a lot of characters, but damn it, he's fun to play. And anytime they make Zangief fun to play, I'm all about it. And it also just was a cool way that they made it accessible for a whole bunch of people to come in with the modern controls. As annoying as they may seem, like it opens the game up to so many more people, and I think that's really cool. I'm excited to see where they go from here with other characters. I'm hoping that they'll eventually lower their prices because the monetization is awful. It's way too much money for character skins, and just the really shitty way of like saying, oh yeah, you can buy this thing for X amount of Capcom bucks, but you can only buy Capcom bucks in these increments. So technically you have to buy more money to get the one thing that you want. It's bullshit and I hate it. But other than that, Street Fighter 6 has been a ton of fun. The World Tour mode was great. It was a cool way to learn the different characters. Reminded me of my time of the World Tour mode in Street Fighter Alpha 3 when I got it for the first time. It was really cool. As far as my third game, I'm probably going to have to give it to Resident Evil 4. I've listened a little bit into the future, and Ganon's going to try to predict in a silly voice that I'm going to say Marvel Snap. And I think Dale also agreed with that. And they're not wrong. I've spent a lot of time in Marvel Snap, but that came out last year. So I can't give it my top game of 2023 because I also put a crap ton of hours into Resident Evil 4. This was a great remake. The graphics were really good. The story was kind of chopped up from the way I remember it on the GameCube, but they made that shit work. And with the release of the downloadable content of No Way Out, I think is what it was, when you play as Ada. I'm going to get that wrong and you're all going to laugh at me. Anyway, it was really cool to see the points of the story that you missed in the main game and just bring it back there. And the challenge was there, man. There were some times where it was just like stupid hard, but I really enjoyed the challenge of it and unlocking everything. Since Resident Evil 7, man, they've not missed yet. But this was really good, and I'm looking forward to them remaking more, because so far Resident Evil 2 remake's been great, 3 remake has been great, 4 remake has been great. I hope they do Code Veronica. I hope they do 5. I hope they do 6. I hope they make it good. But yeah, so those are my 3 games: Sea of Stars, Street Fighter 6, and Resident Evil 4. Send it back over to Dale, who's going to talk next. I hope he reacts really well to all of my responses and my thoughts. See you later.
All right, we have no idea what Zando is going to say there, so we cannot react to them because he's recording that shit in the future.
Let me guess. Street Fighter 6, Sea of Stars,
also agree.
And
maybe also Marvel Snap. That dude's
Marvel
in it
Snap,
deeper than I am, so I could see that. Yeah. All right, Gannon, what is your top 3?
So obviously Baldur's Gate is up there, but you've already expounded on it, so I'm not going to say anything else, and I have 3 more. For me, Street Fighter 6. I know I just said it for Zando, but Street Fighter 6, it's such a fun. It brought a lot of new life into the fighting game genre, and I think we're in an exciting time for fighting games as the communities continue to grow. There's a lot of amazing releases out, and you can't doubt that Street Fighter is definitely the top tier one right now, at least in volume sold. I'm very excited for future things coming up here, but that's probably has some of my most hours this year. What a surprise. Sea of Stars. I really just said what I thought Xando was going to say, because Xando and I have very similar opinions on some of these things. Sea of Stars it's a masterpiece. I'm sure he has spoken very eloquently on it. But if not, I will also just say that I loved it. And I will let him share more. I'm kind of forcing him into doing Sea of Stars at this point. And then last but not least is Armored Core. Armored Core 6 Fires over Rubicon. This is my first jump into the Armored Core world. I love mechs. I love that building. It's something Gundam has always been one of my favorite anime series. All the different Gundams, Gurren Lagann, anything that has a mech, I'm sold for. It was just some really tight combat. The customization was great. At one point, if you remember in the Discord, I was able to make a super okay mech.
Yep.
I was able to recreate our logo in the game and upload it and like color match and everything. And I spent so much time just doing that. Like with that, it's still my background on my computer, and the game is gorgeous looking, and plays just super tight. So I'm very, very happy with that iteration. And maybe in 15 years when they come out with the next one, I'll be still able to play it. I'll be very excited for that. There's a lot of honorable mentions, but I don't want to go too far into those. But I mean, Jedi Survivor, fantastic. Spider-Man 2, fantastic. But there's just too many games this year.
Yeah,
True.
There were a ton of great games this year. Speaking of which, our old friend Clayton, who could not be here because of scheduling issues, did send in his top 3. And so I'm going to go over those really quickly. I'm just going to read what he wrote. He did state that Baldur's Gate 3 is his game of the year also, but he knows that we're going to already talk about that. So he wanted to start by saying, as someone who hated Octopath Traveler and thought it was an outright bad video game, Octopath Traveler 2 is a goddamn masterpiece of storytelling and gameplay design. Holy shit, what a game. I also adored Pikmin 4. Sure you did. A criminally underrated series, and this one is genuinely one of the finest RTS games ever made, bar none.
Whoa. That's a statement.
Yep.
All right.
There's a reason that he's not here, and I think it's that statement, because he didn't want to have to fight me on it. But we're just going to let it go.
That is spoken like a man who has never played a single Command and Conquer game. All right. He says it is a stunning achievement in level design. Lies of P was a pleasant surprise, and it would be unwise of anyone to accuse it of being just another Souls-like. It has a big heart, a fantastic story, and stellar gameplay and boss design. Genuinely one of the best games to come out this past decade of its genre, in my opinion. Okay.
That's a bold statement.
That's
It
another.
That's a bold statement. I mean, I've heard people love it. Like I have more thoughts on it for games that I wanted to play this year. But I'm not surprised by that statement, to be honest. He says one of the best, not the best.
Right.
Because the best is obviously Elden Ring at this point. But in the last 10 years, that's I think that's fair.
Sure. I mean, one of the finest RTS games, probably not. But one of the best Pikmin 4, probably not. But one of the best Souls-likes in the last decade, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Everything that I've seen about it looks engaging. So that's all of the statements from people who aren't here. We have saved the Mel for last.
Yeah, me for last. Okay, so my favorite game of the year is obviously Baldur's Gate, but we've already talked about that. But my second favorite game of the year is Dave the Diver. That game was so much fun and so kooky, and I love the fact that like during the day you're fishing and you're like trying to capture all these fish so that you can sell it later in the evening to your sushi restaurant. And I really adored like selling all of my fish to people and like coming up with like new creations and sushi dishes. I kind of wish that like lasted a little bit longer, but I loved like the progression of the game itself because like it allowed you to kind of start slow where you kind of like, pick up the fish, you sell it at your sushi restaurant, and then you start being like finding more areas and talking to more people and getting better material, better guns, and be able to farm at some point. And it was just great. It was so great. Even the cutscenes, man, were just like wild. And I highly recommend somebody to play this game. The other game that's my favorite game of the year is Coral Island. I know that I've been talking a lot about this, but as somebody who loves like a good, cozy farming sim, like this really just like hits the spot because it's like Stardew Valley, but 3D with like more NPCs that you can interact with and also date. And everything about it is just wonderful. The cows are so freaking like voluptuous and and cuddly
Voluptuous
looking.
cows.
I just want to like hug them. I just want to like love on them because they're just so freaking cute.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the third episode of Super OK in which Mel has described the cows in Coral Island as voluptuous.
Probably because
Which-
they're just so cute.
I mean, I've got to respect your consistency.
Cows are one of my favorite farm animals, so I can't help but just like love on any of them. Like even what's so cool about Coral Island too is that like there are so many awesome festivals like in this game that like allows you to play mini games, and one of the mini games they have there is cow racing, and it is so freaking cute because they'll like run through this like little tiny like lane, but they'll eat grass on the way. It's so cute.
I just like, I feel like the meme, like the quote from Princess Bride. I don't think that word means what you think it means. Do you really mean that they are curvaceous and sexually attractive cows?
They are definitely curvaceous. They're very curvy looking. They're very round.
I was gonna say, do you mean they're spheroid?
You know what? I'm not gonna out anybody's kinks. Whatever. Mel, have fun.
No one is
Thanks,
here
I
to yuck
appreciate
your
it.
cow yum. All right, it's fine. Before we move on, I have to give
Beef,
credit
it's what's
where-
for dinner.
Oh God. Before I move on, I have to give credit where it's due. I did not play Pikmin 4, but I looked it up on Metacritic, and it does have a Metacritic rating of 87. So
That's pretty high.
that's pretty damn high. So maybe Clay isn't full of shit on this one. I'll never know because I don't give a shit about Pikmin. So yeah. But great picks there, Mel. Especially, man, Day of the Diver, I've heard nothing but great things about. And it might be on one of my lists later. We'll
Me
see.
too.
We'll see. All right, so let's move on to the games that surprised us the most. This was a banner year for games. There were banger after banger after banger that came out, and that's just talking about like the games that got a ton of press. So, what are some games that you played this year that maybe didn't get a ton of press, or maybe you feel were underrated, or that sort of thing? What were your biggest surprises of the year?
Okay, that changes my answers a
Same.
little bit. What I wrote were literal surprises. Like I had no expectation that these games were going to be as big in my life as they were.
Okay, let's go with that one then.
Okay, because like for me, it definitely Children of Morta. I've raved about it a lot in both the Discord and on the pod. I don't need to say much more than that. And the Messenger and Sea of Stars. These games just kind of came out of nowhere for me, and I was blown away by how amazing they were. And Sea of Stars did have a lot of hype up beforehand, but it was also just a cool thing that it was the first game that was out for PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass as being the first game that's on both at launch, which is awesome.
That is cool.
That was a huge surprise as well too, to see that both studios supported this game so much that they wanted it to be on both of their platforms for free for their subscribers, or included as for their subscribers. The other one for me is Hi-Fi Rush, and I say this as a surprise because like it just came out of nowhere. Like Bethesda didn't tell anybody. Like it just was like, oh, hey, here's Hi-Fi Rush. And then it ended up being the only one that was really nominated for anything this year, despite their other huge release. So Hi-Fi Rush, just a fantastic game. And once again, just an utter surprise on the way that you said, like had no hype at all. Just was like a stealth release.
If I remember correctly, Hi-Fi Rush was like announced at like some sort of like convention or something like that. Maybe it was like Gamescom or something. And they talked about it and they were like, Hi-Fi Rush is coming from Bethesda now. and it's also on Xbox Game Pass available now. And that's just like the wildest like stealth drop of all time. It was so crazy.
Was it the Xbox Showcase when they did that? Like in replacing like E3 or whatever?
That would make sense.
Xbox and Bethesda Dev Direct this year. January 25th is when it was kind of announced.
Which is just crazy that they announced it and released it on in the same hour, you know?
Yeah.
I'll go next, but the list that I picked for biggest surprises of the year was like surprising to me and how much I actually like enjoyed this game or like was surprising that it is doing so well. One of them is Mario Wonder. I got to play this with my husband as a co-op game, and if you guys have listened to the pod, like I fucking hate platformers. Like platformers are like not my thing. Like I am just terrible at it and I just don't enjoy them. But Mario Wonder for me was like very surprising and how much fun it was to play and being able to be a part of like that world and seeing all the different levels, and it was just like mind blowing to me. Like I was just like, I can't believe that this game is just so much fun and so interesting to play. And then having my husband like yell at me the whole entire time for dying all the time, but it was a great time in general. The next game that I have is Lethal Company. This recently came out, and I got, playing co-op with people has been so much fun. I was actually really surprised because Lethal Company is like labeled as a horror game, and I don't also do horror, but Lethal Company is just so much fun to play with friends, like, and hearing your friends die and then you dying also in a weird way and screaming. Good times. It's all good times.
Now, real quick, you talk about hearing your friends die and screaming and all of that, and this is all possible because of proximity chat, right?
Yes, proximity chat.
Just real quick, I want to highlight a quote from Mel in our year-end 2022 episode. So from a year ago, where we talk about what our hottest take of the year is, and Mel literally said, proximity chat in video games is toxic and annoying. And so for this game to be a game that flips your opinion on that because of the way that it uses it, it means it has to be something really, really special. And I think that that's awesome that they were able to do that.
Absolutely. And I also think it has to do with like proximity chat among friends versus proximity chat within like a public lobby. Yeah. Like I feel way more comfortable being able to talk in proximity chat like within Lethal Company because like I know the people who are in my lobby versus like people who are not in my lobby. So take that for what it is.
That's awesome. I think that that's a really key distinction, that the way that technology is implemented changes how we feel about it. And I think that's cool.
Yeah. And then my last biggest surprise to me was Alan Wake 2. Like I didn't know that Alan Wake was going to be that big of a game. And then when it came out, it just started getting tons and tons of reviews, and like it's winning all of like these different awards at the Game Awards, and people are really hyping it up. And I'm like, what is this? And it's just surprising to me that like I would have never thought that a game like Alan Wake 2 would be so popular.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was a musical in it too.
Yeah, same. So, yeah, big surprise.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I like how all of yours are like super positive surprises. Mine are as well. What?
What a weird transition.
And to link it back to Ganon, my first one is also Children of Morta, a game which I did not expect to be much of anything. It was recommended to me by Berserker in the Discord. Shout out to Berserker. He was like, buy this game, it's on sale. And I'm like, sure, I'll throw it on the pile of games I'm never going to play. And then I think it was either you, Ganon, or somebody in the Discord was like, hey, yeah. I'm playing Children of Morta on my Steam Deck, and it's a great Steam Deck game. And that's the only system I have right now. So I downloaded it, and I am enjoying the hell out of it. It is so good. I cannot get over how good it is. truly surprised me. Another game that really surprised me is Tape to Tape, which I got at the recommendation of Dan. Love you forever, Dan. And I did not think that I was going to enjoy it. It's a hockey roguelike. I am not a sports game guy. The last time I played hockey was NHL 94. Turns out this game plays a lot like NHL 94. And so it's really good, and it really took me by surprise. And so I really enjoyed that. And then the last thing that really took me by surprise is my favorite thing that happened during the Video Game Awards, which was a trailer, or a teaser, I suppose I should say, from Sega, announcing all of these classic Sega games that they're now in development for. And you had better believe that I just lost my shit when I saw the Jet Set Radio like cinematic trailer, teaser, whatever. Like, it blew my mind that they are making a new one. And so I am ultra stoked. DJ Professor K is back. He's got dreads now. Like, it looks awesome. Everything about it looks awesome. So I'm just like ultra hyped. I'm also like low key pretty stoked on like a new Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
That seems fun. So they're doing it. Sega has figured out how to be Sega again and just like bring us these like awesome games that nobody but Sega can make. And so I am like ultra hyped and was very, very surprised by it.
Can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. But like I said at the beginning of all of this, 2023, year of ups and downs. And, maybe there were some games that we were hyped for that fell away. Maybe there were some disappointments that maybe hit a little close to home. So let's talk about some of those. What are some of your biggest disappointments of the year?
Am I going to go first? No, gang, you go first. I'll go first. So disappointments of the year. Redfall. I don't know if you guys remember that game, but it was supposed to be like a co-op, like vampire killing game by Arcane. It looked really cool in the trailers, and then when it was on,
good.
It looked like so much fun. I thought it was going to be really similar to like Left 4 Dead, except with like vampires, and it ended up just being such a flop. Like, there were some, like, I didn't get to play a lot of it because it was just so bad, but there was like some missions where it was just like, that was the mission. Like, you just go and you like kill some of these zombies or like these vampires, and like you're done. Like, it just felt so weird. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just awful. Even like the gunfights were weird, and like the vampires were weird, and just no. That was a huge nope.
I had forgotten so much about Redfall and the fact that it was Arcane and it was a vampire game, and that has just so significantly decreased my excitement for the Blade game.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not even think about that. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But I also think that it was a different part of Arcane Studios, isn't it? That's working on Blade. No, it's the same one. It's the
Archon Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did Redfall. Oh no, it was Archon Austin. Redfall did Archon Austin. Okay. So
yeah, so it's a different.
Okay.
I think it's a different.
Okay.
Video.
Arcane. Okay.
But yeah, feelings about that one for sure. Because I thought it was going to be pretty okay. Like, Arcane, like they do good games. Like, Deathloop was a solid game from what I've seen. And like, people have raved about it.
I don't think they missed.
Yeah.
It was Dishonored and Deathloop, right?
Prey as well, I think, was also in there, and that's a solid game. So like, Redfall should have been a decent game, and it was just I think it got like 20. I don't remember what the Metacritic rating was for this. It was very, very low, like 40 or something. 30.
Bad.
Oof. That's an oof. The other oofs, Starfield. After so much hype about like a Bethesda game, like, I thought Starfield as a new IP was going to be innovative and cool, and it was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's fine, it's playable, but like, how do you have a game that's an open world RPG but there is no local map? Like, what? Like, I don't understand it. Like, there were some storylines in Starfield that were actually better than the main storyline. How can that be? Like, shouldn't you be like pumping in your best creative thinkers into the main storyline? Guess not. I guess not. So that's not only an oof, but my last oof would probably also be like Diablo 4. I really enjoyed playing the early access and the beta of Diablo 4. And I was really, really hyped about like how much fun it was going to be. And then as soon as the game got released, they had so many changes to like the meta, the changes to like the XP gains, that it just made the game feel so boring and so grindy that it was just like, why am I even doing this? And to, it's Brody's favorite game, but Brody also is like a diehard like Diablo fan. And I feel like no matter what Diablo does, he's still going to like it for what it is. But for me, it was just disappointing because it's just like there was too many changes right before release. And on top of that too, what really gets me is that like as soon as they had season 2 come out, which was like 5 months after the release or something like that, they immediately announced that they were going to have a expansion. Like, your game hasn't even been out for a whole entire year, and now you want people to buy into an expansion? Like, it just seems like a money grab. Everything that they're doing is kind of like a money grab. Like, even with their cosmetics, it's like, you can spend $60 to have a freaking horse. Nobody wants to spend $60 for a fucking horse. Nobody.
The only thing I hate more than spending $60 is horses.
Seriously. So yeah, those are my disappointments of the year. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely tag on with that one was my biggest disappointment was Diablo 4, the launch, and season 1. I thought that season 2 did better, but like you said, the things that they've done and the announcement's definitely a bummer. But it just, I mean, I'm a huge Diablo fan. I compromised on my morals because I thought Bobby Kotick would be gone by now, and he wasn't. And I got on the game on season 1 when it came out, and man, I regretted so much because I made that jump and then I didn't find the game fun, and I was so upset at myself and at the game. Mm-hmm. You mentioned monetization, and I think one of the worst monetizations this year is Street Fighter 6. It's one of my game of the years, but man, I have lost so much respect from Capcom, and I'm like, this year and in the last few years, I realized that Capcom is probably one of my favorite studios based on the games that I'm excited for and the things I'm looking forward to. But the way that they treated the monetization of the Street Fighter outfits, it's like they decided, you have the ability to create your own character now, and we're going to give you a ton of options there, but that means we're going to remove all outfits from everybody, from all the actual people that you play with in the game online. And they've really just done really terrible things when it comes to that. Specifically with the Outfit 3, I know that there's been some talk in the Discord, and please check out Zando's comments on it because I think he summed it up pretty well in the articles that he posted. And then last but not least, for me, this is a personal disappointment. Monster Hunter Wilds, and this is just my own idiocy. They mentioned in their shareholder stuff, like I'm talking like I'm a Capcom stan at this point. Like I've been like following their shareholder stuff. They mentioned that there was going to be a new release that was unannounced coming out in 2024 that's going to sell millions. My heart was set, and I know a lot of people's hearts were set on the new Monster Hunter being that game. They traditionally have about a 6-month cycle, but when they announce games and when they for Monster Hunter, because there's not a ton of hype that you need to build, it's just you show off a few monsters that are new, and then it was not released till 2025, so it's a bit of a bummer. That was a huge bummer. I'm very excited for the game, but definitely still bummed out. And then just a quick little one, because I think we need to mention it and we haven't mentioned it. Lord of the Rings Golem, definitely the biggest disappointment because of just how bad that game was. I think it's important to just mention in the disappointment section. We don't have to talk about it more than that.
What's funny is Redfall was going to be the worst game of the year, and then that came out. So, yeah. Killed a whole studio, but we'll talk about killing studios a little bit later. As far as my biggest disappointment, I'm going to echo what you guys have said, but I'm going to take it a little bit further. The fact that Bobby Kotick is still employed / alive is a real fucking bummer for me. I didn't play Diablo 4 because of it, because he's still part of Activision Blizzard. And so I didn't get a chance to be burned by it. But at the same time, like, what are you doing? This guy's an obvious scumbag. Why is he still part of your company? My second biggest disappointment of this year is one that really sucks for me personally, because Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, while good, was only good. It was not amazing. It did not capture me in the same way that Jet Grind Radio does. The soundtrack slaps. No denying that. But the way that they focused less on the graffiti aspect and more on like the tricks and combos and that sort of thing, I think took a little bit away from the game. A lot of the later stages are things where it's like, oh, to get to this spot, you have to do this, and then 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 you're there. And if you fuck it up at any point, you fall back to the beginning and you just have to do it all again. Makes for really tedious gameplay at times. So super big bummer. And then some like other huge bummer. Video game layoffs happening this year. There were a ton of studios that laid off a ton of really talented people who make their living designing or testing or creating video games, right? And these studios, some of them were like in dire straits, but some of them are huge studios where it was just a cost-cutting thing. It sucks either way, but man, like, video game layoffs hit a lot of people hard this year, and that's a major bummer. And then I've got two super quick ones. The first, Wayfinder. Thought it was going to be really good, was really stoked on it. It was not really good. And like the studio is like failing or something like that now because of how not good it was. That's a super bummer. And then the last one is just a personal bummer. I really enjoyed Exoprimal, and I could not find anyone to play it with me. And it is a multiplayer game. It's kind of like Overwatch, but with dinosaurs. And I really enjoyed it, but I couldn't find anyone to play with me. And so it got to the point where I was like playing exclusively with like trolls and like, oh, everybody's a tank. Nobody can kill anything. And it's like, anyone can switch at any time. And then I'd switch. And then it's like everyone would switch to what I was now doing. And it was just like a fucking nightmare. So that was a personal bummer for me. I'm guessing, though, that both of you, based on that explanation, are wishing you had played Exoprimal along with me. So with that in mind, what are some other games that you wish that you would have played this year?
I'm going to defend myself real quickly. I was down to play Exoprimal with you, but then games came out and then your house has been Baba Yaga and you haven't been able to play.
Fair point.
So when you come back, I commit to playing some Exoprimal with you.
It is a Capcom game, so that's very on brand for you.
If it still exists, I'll take you up on it.
Dang it, you figured out my ploy. I was hoping this would be gone by the time you're back in your house. Man. Games I wish I had played, though. Remnant 2. I know that was one that Clay really wanted to play, and he had started playing it and was like, I really want someone to play with. And then just things have happened, and I did pick it up on Steam, and then the next day they made it available on Xbox Game Pass, so that's cool. Dave the Diver. Dave the Diver, which Mel already eloquently spoke about. I'm very excited to play that. I think it's going to be great on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Lies of P, which I know that Clay mentioned in his Game of the Year. Maximilian Dude, he's a big streamer in the fighting game community. It was one of his top games of the year. And ever since I saw that, I was like, okay, I want to give it a shot. So I'm excited for those three when I find the time.
Yeah. I'll go very quickly. I would love to play Spider-Man 2 just because I want to just play the game. Just haven't had the time. recently just bought it. So, when I come back from my trip, I think that's going to be the next game I play. Cocoon, which I talked about it in the previous episode, that it won best debut indie game. And I watched my friend play it, and it just seems really crazy, really weird. And I really want to just see what it's all about and fully understand what the hell is happening in that game. And then lastly is Alan Wake 2, because I really want to know what the hype's all about. I feel like I have to play it now.
I'm too scared.
I am too, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna figure it out.
It looks real good. It looks real good. All right. My games that I wish I would have played: Final Fantasy 16. I just could not find time to play it. Remnant 2. It came out while my house has been Baba Yaga'd. Spider-Man 2 came out while my house has been Baba Yaga'd. And Mario Wonder came out while my house has been Baba Yaga'd. So I have a huge backlog for the beginning of 2024. I haven't bought any of them yet, so we'll see what happens.
They'll come out on Game Pass the day you buy them.
I'm very excited for it.
For Mario Wonder on Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up buying Remnant 2 on the PS5 just so I can play it with like both sides and Evan, because
it's a good idea.
That's who I played Remnant 1 with, and that game is so much fun co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's dive right into our hottest takes of the year. What take do you got that's just too hot?
Tears of the Kingdom is the least deserving winner of the action adventure category.
Ooh.
I'm gonna come right out and say that it is a fine game, but the big change this year was like the building system. I don't think that it made enough changes to be compared to the other games that were in that category. And it felt like that game in the Game of the Year or the Game Awards, it was handed out to Tears of the Kingdom because they felt like they needed to give it to someone because it was the other games were going to win a bunch of other awards, and they needed to make sure that Nintendo won an award. And I don't think that it was worth the time, or not the time. It was fine. I played it, and then at some point, I just got bored, which I never did. I never did with Breath of the Wild, but I think because it's just so much of Breath of the Wild plus the building that I felt that way.
That's fair.
I feel that. I felt the same way when I was playing Tears of the Kingdom, which is why I never like truly finished the game, because it was just like it wasn't enough. Like it kind of felt like it was doing the same thing that God of War Ragnarok did, right? Like it's like almost identical to the same game, same play style, new weapons and stuff like that. But God of War Ragnarok had a storyline to it, whereas Tears of the Kingdom has a storyline, but it's like,
I also think that it failed because of the way that we were able to share things like the building. And a lot of the fun of that was supposed to be figuring out your own things. But then as soon as people found out that you could like do certain things, it got shared out. And then you lost that kind of wonder. And you've been like, I did it to myself, but I learned that there was a way to do a hover bike. I made a hover bike, and then I explored areas that I shouldn't have been able to explore yet.
Yeah.
And that completely changes how you progress through the game. And now it feels more like a survival game where I can just go anywhere and explore and build what I want. And it's no longer an action adventure game of like having to earn my way to the next area.
It's an interesting take. It's an interesting take. I'm going to share an opinion that, if you know me, probably isn't a hot take, but is probably pretty hot if you are one of the people in video games who unionized this year, which was a very exciting thing that happened this year. A bunch of different video game companies had unions form within them. My hot take is they didn't go fucking far enough. We need a video game union the same way that we have like a UAW, the same way we have a SAG, something that will protect all video game workers as opposed to individuals who work at individual companies. Obviously, collective bargaining power is bargaining collectively is power, and I don't think that individual studios, because they come and go so quickly, because they ebb and flow, that sort of thing, having unions goes far enough to protect video game employees. If you are a video game creator, I would urge you to look at collectively like merging those unions together, getting like a larger organization, because video games is a huge industry and you guys deserve to be protected. So that's my hot take. You didn't go far enough.
Yeah. Mine's probably not like the hottest take, but like don't release large heavy load games on the Switch because it just can't handle it. It's trash. It's going to look terrible. Fact.
Yeah.
Don't release your AAA games on there. It's not going to do well.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. And can I also add in the cloud games that they've released on the Switch is just like the biggest bullshit, where it requires an internet connection to play because it's actually streaming some of it to the system.
Yeah, isn't the Hogwarts game that way?
Yep. There's like a bunch of them that are like that, and it's just total bullshit. Yeah.
Gross.
All right. Any other notable gaming moments from 2023?
Speaking of don't release large heavy load games on the Switch, Mortal Kombat on the Switch, and when that got released, like, ugh, oof.
Okay, so I somehow missed this. I didn't hear about this news story. I might have been on a boat when it dropped, but Gannon has sent me a YouTube short that he wants me to watch and react to live. And so I've just hit play and I am looking at God. It looks, there's like the regular game at the bottom of this YouTube short and then like a cursed, holy shit.
Yeah.
A cursed,
It's the eyes.
like smooth skin game on the top. And it just is like, oh man,
the characters have
bad.
no eyelids. It's just like they're staring into your soul the whole entire time.
Oh
just
my God.
creepy.
That was
Cursed.
That was a wild ass ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you on that, Mel. What else you got?
Super cursed. Also another notable gaming moment, E3 dying. I think that's pretty sad. It's definitely end of an era for the gaming community, the gaming industry, I should say. And then the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merge, because that's a thing. It shouldn't have been a thing, but it's a fucking thing.
Yeah, that's a real bummer. It's not going to be good for consumers. I can tell you that much. It's going to be good for Microsoft. It's probably going to be good for Activision and Blizzard. Not going to be good for consumers. My notable gaming moments, I only have two that I want to talk about. The first is that Ange is still fucking playing Infinity Island on her phone.
What?
And at this point, I am almost convinced that it is just a prank that she is playing on me, because I don't know how someone can play that game for 2 years, because I looked back in the year end 2022 and was like, Ange is still playing this, and that's crazy. So Brody, we're enemies now. I just want you to know that. Also, I want to highlight the weirdness of the game the day before. Have you guys heard about this?
I just learned about this, I think, yesterday.
Yeah,
Is that
totally
the one
insane.
that died?
So it is this game that was the most wishlisted game on Steam. It was supposed to be like a survival MMO set in a post-pandemic world where like you're going around and you're trying to like survive, basically. And that's how they build it. And then it came out. The publisher's name is like Fnatic or something like that. It came out, not the publisher, the developer, Fnatic, came out. It was not anything like an MMO. It's more like a Tarkov style extraction shooter. The day it came out, the company that developed it changed their name, like filed papers to change their name. 4 days later, the company said that the game had not met their financial expectations. They were offering refunds to everyone who purchased the game, and also the studio itself would be shutting down. In 4 days,
Whoa.
this happened. It's absolutely wild.
It honestly feels like a front for like money laundering.
It's crazy. They like are speed running like Anthem, right? Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. When I learned about it, it's just there's like jokes like people like if you email the CEO, he'll send you a copy of the game. Like at this point,
Somebody posted that in the Discord. It's pretty funny.
yeah. So
You can't buy it.
yeah,
Like if you want to see how bad it is, you're not allowed.
yeah, it's crazy. Oh,
Crazy.
for me, it's a personal one. This is the first year that Charlie has really gotten into video games, like truly into her own, like wanting to play her own video games and like learning. We talked about her character creation love. She like when we play Mario Wonder, she's all telling me which character she wants me to play as so that she can watch that character that time. And then she has learned how to do Wii bowling, Nintendo Switch Sports Bowling, which is just it's making my little heart super happy. So I'm it's just a personal notable gaming moment of 2023 for me.
I love that she's turning into a little gamer.
I am
Mhm.
Makes me
so
so
happy
happy.
about this. Yes. So happy. Oh, absolutely amazing. All right. Moving on. Are there any non-video games that you played this year that you want to highlight, tabletop or otherwise? I'm just going to really quick highlight the fact that I played Dinosaur Islands Raw and Right, and it was absolutely amazing. We played Wavelengths during the Super OK get together, and that was a blast. And my friends Brian and Angie showed Ange and I Robot Quest Arena, and it was really, really fun. It's just like BattleBots, the board game. It's great.
Only I think one of our games is kind of new to 2023 this year, but the ones that we fell in love with were Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is a great little worker placement game. Heat Pedal to the Metal was the hotness, I think, in 2022 or 2021. We finally got our copy. And Rolling Heights was also very good. You actually roll meeples to get resources, which is it's a whole different, like you're not rolling dice, you're actually rolling little meeples, which is a fantastic game experience. And then the one that was new this year, Sky Team, it's a fantastic 2-player co-op. Cannot recommend it enough. You're working together to land a plane. One person's the pilot, the other person's the co-pilot, and it's a rolling dice game that's just really beautifully set up by Hatchet Games, and I can't recommend it enough if you have a 2-player limit.
All of
Nice.
that sounds lovely. I don't play tabletop games, so we should move on to the next question.
That's not fair. You play D&D. That's a tabletop game.
Yeah, but like it's not. It has existed for a very long time.
Would you recommend it to other people?
Sure. Yes.
All right, there we go. Mel's recommendation is D&D.
Everybody go play D&D. It's a good time. Play with
Hot
good
takes.
people.
Play with what?
Takes. Play with good people.
Oh yeah, that's important. Yeah, unlike pizza, no D&D is better than bad D&D. It's really weird like that. All right. Let's talk about our most anticipated titles of 2024 and see how wrong we are in a year.
All right, I'll go first. Dragon's Dogma 2. This is a placeholder for me for Monster Hunter Wilds. Dragon's Dogma is essentially a single player game that has some great large monsters and allows you to climb them and do like different ways to defeat them. I started playing through the old one that was released forever ago, but then they re-released it on the PC in like 2016, I think it was. Just started Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen today, actually, and Dragon's Dogma 2 is gotten a lot of hype so far, and Capcom has revived it. Visions of Mana, if you were in the Discord when I saw that there was a new Mana game, you would have had to cover your ears because Mana series is one of the top tier for me, as we all know, and there's a new Mana, and I'm just so excited. When I saw the little rabbite jumping up and down, I think I peed myself. And then a surprise announcement at the Game Awards was Windblown, by the makers of Dead Cells. I'm very excited for this game. It looked fantastic. The art was gorgeous and fun, and the fact that it had a co-op system looked amazing. So very excited for that.
Windblown looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'll go next. I am very excited Gannon mentioned earlier about how we are in a bit of a fighting game renaissance. Tekken 8 comes out in like 2 months, beginning of 2024, and I am super stoked on that. Hades 2 early access is supposed to drop sometime this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the early access thing or if I'll wait until the full release. But the original Hades was so good and such a masterpiece that it's one of the few games that I would feel comfortable like giving my money to early. I am famously against both pre-ordering and early access. I might break my rule for Hades 2. That's how stoked I am about it. And then lastly, I really got my fingers crossed on this one because it might be good and it might just suck total ass. But Dragon Age Dreadwolf is supposed to come out sometime this year. It's slated right now for a June release. I would be surprised if that happens. And Dragon Age is a really, really good series. It's near and dear to my heart. It's not Mass Effect, but it's really close. And so I'm hoping that it's awesome. We'll see. BioWare's been kind of miss and miss lately, so we'll see. What about you, Mel?
I would also have to agree. Hades 2 is up there in my most anticipated titles for 2024. I'm also really looking forward to Star Wars Outlaw. I really enjoyed their cinematic trailer. I thought that was kind of interesting in their take on it, but we'll see how that goes.
I'm also looking forward to it. It almost made my list. It looks cool.
Yeah. It looked interesting, that's for sure. And I'm very curious to know if like you are the outlaw or you're hunting for outlaws. I think pirating in space seems like a lot of fun. I think Hellblade 2 might also be on this list because I really enjoyed the first Hellblade, but I'm kind of skeptical about that one. And another one that has been talked about but not officially announced just yet is The Wolf Among Us 2. Because that first game was amazing, and I'm very excited to see if Telltales are going to be doing it again, and if they are going to, do well on this one. We'll see.
Telltale's another wild story from this year that we don't really have time to go into, but it's definitely worth reading up on. Like, they were dead for a little while, and now they're back, and shit's wild. That's a really good call out. I forgot about Wolf Among Us 2. I am curious, what makes you skeptical of Hellblade 2?
When I was looking at the trailers, like it looked good, but I'm kind of worried that they are going to take like what's her name?
Setsuna?
Oh god, Senua's
you're right.
schizophrenia almost like too far. So they have to have that like that perfect balance between it being like, just enough to make it seem like her schizophrenia is like realistic, but not blow it out of proportions, and still have it be like a good action adventure game.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that sounds like a tough tightrope to walk. All right. This last question is sponsored by Jim Southworth. For those of you who don't know, Jim Southworth is the Larian employee who passed away this year. And then he had his tribute words played over by music during the fucking video game awards because they had to fit in another commercial for Mountain fucking Dew. So we are taking this moment to honor Jim Southworth, who apparently was a very important and integral member of Larian, very loved man. And we are going to share some love in honor of him. So, who is your Discord MVP this year? Who in the Discord is somebody whose posts you look forward to or contributed to the Discord community in some way? Let's give out some love.
I will go first, and I'm going to pull mine directly from the leaderboards. Brody is currently number 1 on the leaderboards, but Brody is also part of our crew, so... Brody. But number 2 is Tubbs, and I want to give a shout out to Tubbs because I always enjoy like seeing his posts like within the Discord. I love that he talks a lot about like his Lego stuff that he does, and Tubbs is just an all-around great guy. So Tubbs is my MVP.
So mine is, if there was a way that Meeseeks could track voice chat contribution in minutes, then this person would probably be number one on the Discord outside of myself, and that's Brain of Dane. Brain of Dane is always in the Discord at night, always there to chat and talk about games. So he's my MVP in the Discord because of his involvement in our voice chat side, which isn't tracked at all. We have a lot of people that are in there, like Enigma's in there. There's Dan's in there a lot, Oren and a bunch of other people. Zando's in there a lot too. So shout out to the late night crew that is hanging out in the voice chat at night.
Late night crew.
Yeah, good call out. Dane is also like super friendly. So if you see him hanging out in there, go say hi. He's great. I am going to call out Fleabitten. And I'm calling out Fleabitten. He's in the top 10 on our Discord leaderboards. But the thing that I love about Fleabitten is he has an expertise in a video game area that no one else that I know of does. And so he is constantly posting like awesome retro consoles that he is like modded or had modded. He's like a huge collector of like really, really old and obscure consoles. And I just think that he brings like a different knowledge set to the Discord. So major shout out to Fleabitten. You're my MVP, but all of the people listed here, except for Brody, are definitely deserving of that honor. So thank you immensely for contributing. If you are listening to this and you're like, I don't know who any of those people are, it probably means you're not in the Discord, and you should probably get in the Discord. Maybe make that your resolution for 2024. I'm going to be in the Discord more. I don't know, but it's a great place. It's an awesome community, and I cannot recommend it enough. The other thing that I just wanted to take a moment to highlight is how grateful we are for our Patreons. We really could not do this without you. You help keep this free. You're absolutely awesome. Really appreciate it. And then the last shout out that I want to make is to anybody who has recommended this show to friends or family, posted it on forums, shared it in their video game communities that they might have. We really appreciate it. We do absolutely zero marketing here because we're bad at it. And so you are our marketing, and we really do appreciate you for all of that. Anything else that we want to talk about from 2023?
I just want to go on the record and say Dan did not bring Tape to Tape in your life. That was me, once again, as well as Children of Morta, not Dan. So fuck you, Dan. You don't get the credit for those games because I brought them to you.
Fair enough. Also, we are taking off next week. It's the week in between Christmas. It's the 1 week we take off every year. So we will see you all in 2024. Thank you immensely for being here, and we hope you had a super okay year. If you're still listening, thanks for listening. Everybody, tell the people where you can be found.
In the Discord is Kankface. This is Ganon.
This is Mel. You can find me on Discord as Melifriend.
With an R, without an R?
Without an R.
Okay. I am a 20-sided ninja on Blue Sky and in the Discord. Thank you all so much. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
See you next year.
Goodbye from the future. Say Merry Christmas, Lemmy.
Merry Christmas, motherfucker! Perfect.